Uh, Thank you, Mr. President. I have the honor to deliver this statement on behalf of A3 Plus, mainly Algeria, Guyana, Sierra Leone, and my own country, Somalia. We express our appreciation for the presidency for promptly convening this meeting at the request of A3 Plus, joined by China, Pakistan, and Russian Federation. I also want to welcome the participation of the representatives from the Arab League nations, the African Union, Djibouti, Kuwait, South Africa, Turkey, to this meeting. Mr. President, I also want to thank ASG Khalid Kiari for his briefings. Mr. President, A3 Plus strongly condemns the flagrant assault by Israel on the unity and the territorial integrity of Somalia by recognizing as an independent entity to the northwestern region of Somalia, so-called Somaliland, which is legally incapable of entering into any agreement or arrangement or recognition with another country. Any such purported arrangements are therefore null and void. Further, this action represents a direct violation of the UN Charter, the African Union's fundamental principles, and a breach of cornerstone of the international law. Respect for the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the states. This act of aggression is aimed at encouraging fragmentation of the territory of Somalia, which is the northwestern region, is an integral part and is destabilizing the Horn of Africa, entire Horn of Africa, and the Red Sea region. It should be firmly rejected and condemned unequivocally by all member states. A3 Plus therefore rejects this announcement by Israel and calls for it to be rescinded. In this regard, A3 Plus aligns itself with the recent statements of the chairperson of the African Union Commission, His Excellency Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, in categorically rejecting all attempts at undermining the independence, sovereignty, territorial integrity of Somalia. A3 Plus reaffirms the long-standing and consistent position of the African Union rooted firmly in the constitutive act of the Union and the principles of respecting borders inherited at independence as proclaimed in 1964 decision of the Organization of African Unity, Cairo Declaration. We further call on all member states to take a unified and principled stand against this illegal action, which undermines the very foundation of the international legal order. A3 Plus seizes this opportunity to welcome all regional, international, bilateral, and multilateral partners who express their clear support and the commitment to the sovereignty, unity, and territorial integrity of Somalia. Mr. President, taking note of the statements made by some officials regarding the forced involuntary relocation of Palestinians from their homeland to other countries, A3 Plus unequivocally reject any steps aimed at advancing this objective, including any attempt by Israel to relocate the Palestinian population from Gaza to northwestern region of Somalia. This action is not only unlawful, but is morally reprehensible. Recalling the provisional measures and advisory opinion of the International Court of Justice regarding the forcible displacement of Palestinian people from their land, we call on Israel to comply with its legal obligations on this matter. A3 Plus will neither accept nor condone the illegal use of any territory, let alone that of sovereign state, which is a member of the United Nations, to deny the right of self-determination to a people who have been subjected to crimes against humanity for many, many years. Neither the future of the Palestinian people nor the territorial sovereignty of Somalia can be used as a bargaining chip. This utter disdain for law and morality must be stopped now. We further underscore our steadfast support for the legitimate rights of the Palestinian people, including their right to self-determination and their right to their homeland in accordance with the two-state solution. Rather than contributing genuinely to the commendable international peace efforts in the Middle East through the long overdue recognition of independent, sovereign Palestinian state, Israel has instead chosen to project instability to the Horn of Africa, promote divisions, and create new sources of tensions in the region already facing multidimensional and complex challenges. Mr. President, in closing, A3+ reiterates its unwavering commitment to the Somalis' unity, sovereignty, and territorial integrity. No external actor has the legitimacy or authority to alter the unity, the sovereignty, or territorial configuration of Somalia or any other sovereign state. Israel's action not only set a dangerous precedent, but also posed a serious threat to regional and international peace and security. A3+ calls again on the international community to uphold its responsibility under the United Nations Charter and to reject any act that undermines the sovereignty, unity, and territorial integrity of Somalia or the rights of the Palestinian people through a manipulative and immoral actions. I thank you, Mr. President.
For his briefing here this afternoon. I wish to make it clear, Israel's engagement with Somaliland has a long and consistent record. In 1960, when Somaliland emerged as an independent state, Israel was among 35 countries that formally recognized its independence. In the late 1980s, under the regime of Siad Barre, Somaliland's civilian population was subjected to mass atrocities. Entire cities were destroyed, civilians were deliberately targeted. These crimes are now widely recognized as the Isaaq genocide. At the time, Israel was the only country to formally raise these atrocities in this very council. On May 2nd, 1990, Israel's then acting permanent representative, Yochanan Bain, submitted this letter to this very council, warning of grave human rights violations in Somalia, including the destruction of Hargeisa and the targeting of civilians. This document forms part of the official record of the Security Council. That record underscores the consistency of Israel's engagement, grounded in concern for human rights, accountability, and legal principles. That history provides essential context for the discussion surrounding Israel's recognition of Somaliland today. Let me be clear, Israel's recognition of Somaliland is neither provocative nor novel. It is a lawful, principled acknowledgement of a long-established reality, consistent with international law and aligned with the values that this Council is meant to uphold. Mr. President, Somaliland's modern political history is clear and well documented. On June 26, 1960, the former British Somaliland Protectorate attained independence as the State of Somaliland. In the days that followed, prior to its voluntary union with the Trust Territory of Somalia on July 1, 1960, Somaliland was recognized by 35 states, including the United States, the United Kingdom, France, China, Egypt, Ethiopia, the Soviet Union, and Israel. Somaliland entered that union as a recognized sovereign entity, exercising its right to self-determination. That union failed to produce a durable or fully ratified constitutional settlement. Political marginalization, repression, and mass violence followed. When the Somali central government collapsed, Somaliland reasserted its sovereignty in May 1991. For more than 3 decades since, it has existed entirely outside the authority of Mogadishu. Since 1991, Somaliland has consistently met the objective criteria for statehood under customary international law, as reflected in the Montevideo Convention. 1, it has a permanent population. 2, a defined territory. 3, an effective government. 4, the capacity to conduct foreign relations. In fact, Somaliland has held regular competitive elections, ensured peaceful transfers of power, and maintained effective governance and security throughout its territory. In a region marked by instability, Somaliland has demonstrated continuity, responsibility, and restraint. Moreover, Somaliland's engagement with the international community is already sustained and practical. Several states maintain representative, liaison, or economic offices in Hargeisa. These relationships reflect ongoing diplomatic, economic, and development cooperation. They also reflect an acknowledgement in practice of Somaliland's capacity to govern responsibly. Israel's recognition builds on this reality. This step was taken as an exercise of sovereign authority, consistent with international law and long-standing diplomatic practice. It is not a hostile step towards Somalia, nor does it preclude future dialogue between the parties. Recognition is not an act of defiance. It is an opportunity to promote clarity, an opportunity to encourage responsibility, an opportunity to strengthen stability in the Horn of Africa. This recognition is forward-looking. It aligns with the spirit of the Abraham Accords: cooperation over isolation, pragmatism over paralysis, and partnership over perpetual conflict. Somaliland has demonstrated a willingness to govern responsibly, to secure itself, and to engage constructively with regional and international partners. This trajectory is also not without precedent. In the case of South Sudan, early engagement by individual states, including Israel, preceded broader international recognition and supported international integration and stability. Reality was acknowledged first. Consensus followed. Mr. President, the question raised by Israel's recognition of Somaliland is not whether international law permits acknowledgement of long-established facts. It does. The question is whether this Council is ready to engage with reality as it exists. Somaliland's historical sovereignty, more than 3 decades of effective self-governance, and demonstrated capacity to act as a responsible international partner meet the legal criteria that guide recognition. Israel has aligned its foreign policy with this reality. This approach reflects the spirit of the Abraham Accords. It is grounded in international law and directed towards greater stability and security in the region. I thank you.
I thank the representative.
Thank you, Mr. President, for giving me again the floor. Before proceeding further, I want to make additional remarks in my capacity as a Somali representative of Somalia to directly address the claims made by the representative of Israel who spoke before me. I will make 3 points, Excellency. First, actions of occupying power in Palestine and indeed in the broader region are well documented. These actions constitute clear violations of international law. What we see today and time again are acts to terrorize civilian populations and crimes against humanity and forced displacement of a whole community, starvation of innocent people, and killing and maiming hundreds of thousands. And someone doing all these things are lecturing us today what they call genocide and things like that. I'm shocked to listen to the outrageous comments from the Israeli representative. If we want to talk about genocide, it's Israel that's committing on our own eyes every day. He represents a government that killed more than 70,000 people, civilians, including children, women, elderly, doctors, and other health workers, and patients in hospitals, destroying infrastructures, deliberately starving people of Gaza. To come before us, esteemed Council, and accuse Somalia of committing genocide is just ridiculous and it's unbelievable. The other thing that I want to add is he has no idea what Somalia is and where Somalis are and what Somalia stands for. I think the history is a selective history that he has just generated on his own mind. Let me give you some lessons on this. There is a systematic, it's a troubling, Somalia is one country, one people, one religion that fought together for independence from the colonial. And Somalia is again one that's fighting terrorist organizations in the Horn of Africa as a one group, one religion, one ethnic group. And then when you say the Somaliland, that was a British Somaliland, it was two regions, the Northeast region and Northwest region. And now Northeast region is part of, which is 45% of the land and the population are part of the federal government of Somalia. What we're talking about is Northwest, which is also having a problem. Half of Northwest is now older region, which is close to the Djibouti border. And they are totally against what the Isaq people that you say, Isaq genocide. And there was no such genocide in Somalia that took place. Somalia had a civil war, and the civil war has its own effects. And we believe the civil war was also financed from outside. So to come to this place and lecture us humanity and genocide and human rights and independence and democracy, and we know what you're doing on a daily basis, is just an insult. And I cannot take it without responding to this. I thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, President. I thank ASG Chiari for briefing us. I will make 3 points. First, the United Kingdom reaffirms its support for the sovereignty, territorial integrity, political independence, and unity of Somalia. The UK does not recognise Somaliland's independence. We maintain that any change to Somaliland's status depends on mutual agreement between Mogadishu and Hargeisa through dialogue, and must conform to the purposes and principles of the UN Charter. We regret any action that risks undermining peace and security in the region. Second, we urge further efforts between the federal government of Somalia and the Somaliland authorities to address differences and work together to face common threats. Al-Shabaab and other terrorist organisations benefit from internal divisions in Somalia. We encourage Mogadishu and Hargeisa to pursue dialogue with the support of regional bodies and the international community to resolve these divisions. Third, we underscore the importance of continued international support to Somalia's security transition. Just this month, the Council renewed its authorisations for the African Union Support and Stabilisation Mission in Somalia, extended the provision of the UN logistical support to AWSOM through UNSOS, mandated a strong package of sanction measures to degrade Al-Shabaab. In September, the United Kingdom announced a contribution of over $30 million to support Somalia's security transition, including $22 million to AWSOM. As a close and long-standing partner of Somalia, we remain committed to supporting the federal government in its efforts to build a secure and stable Somalia. We urge greater international support to this end. In closing, President, the UK also welcomes the peaceful conduct of the local elections in Mogadishu and reaffirms its support for Somalia's democratic aspirations. We encourage all political actors to work together to reach consensus on next steps. Thank you.